this morning with my colleague, MPP Alexa Gilmore from Parkdale High Park. Today, we are joined by several community leaders from the Black community. They are coming together and they represent a coalition of 22 organizations, Black-led organizations, that are here to talk about how the government's redirection and probably lack of communication has affected the way they deliver their service, specifically for Black youth and families. This is a very important issue. I'm really glad that we are able to have this opportunity to say what is to be said. But before I sort of go into my formal remarks, I want to express my deep concern and disappointment that the House has risen. These organizations were expected to be in the chambers today. They were hoping to have their question asked directly to the Premier and the government, and they were hoping to seek an answer. Because the House rose early, they are not afforded that opportunity. The reception that they had planned and hosted this afternoon is also canceled because literally every government member has now left. But we're still going to do this work because this is important and the message must be delivered. Today, we're here to talk about the ongoing disruption and the delay of funding for the Black Youth Action Plan. This funding comes from the Ministry of Citizenship and Multiculturalism. It is supported by the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. And for many years, 22 Black-led organizations have been partners with the province of Ontario. They have provided critical services for Black youth and families. Oftentimes, the services fill in the gaps where government cannot reach, or those services do not exist on behalf of the government. So despite this long-time partnership, the Black Youth Action Plan funded organizations are here today because they have had to initiate staff layoffs, program cancellations, take on debt to continue the service, or scale back their programming, largely because of an inconsistent inconsistent government funding. And they will go into details on what has transpired because I think everyone can agree that every organization, every business, every operation, institution, regardless of the service that they're delivering, if you don't know where the money is coming from the very next day, you cannot simply deliver the service. And so this is really what is at stake here. And I want the government to know that they are failing to support many Ontarians by not ensuring that they're stepping up to support Black youth and families. Today, taking the podium will be Lori Ann Green Walker, who is the CEO of Women's Health in Women's Hand, Audrey Spence, the treasurer for the board of directors for the Durham Family and Cultural Center, as well as Charlene Grant, the CEO and founder of Parents of Black Children. Lori Ann.
Thank you and good morning. So since 2021, Women's Health in Women's Hands has proudly operated the Student and Family Advocacy Program, funded through the Black Youth Action Plan, which provides culturally and gender-responsive support to young Black women across downtown, Toronto, North York, and Scarborough. Through one-to-one advocacy, family workshops, and community training, we've helped young Black people break down barriers to education. Last year alone, we served over 160 students across all 22 funded agencies that are funded under BYAP. Approximately 3,500 youth and families were reached through initiatives like ours. In terms of the community impact, student and family advocacy programs, such as Her Stories Book Club, has enabled its participants to strengthen their reading skills, network, and build friendships. This book club also provided an environment for participants to build trust and comfort with SFA staff, encouraging them to book one-on-one case management appointments. For the third year in a row, SFA has delivered a post-secondary workshop series. This activity has provided 25 students with vital post-secondary information and grants for participants to use towards their post-secondary applications. As a result, participants excitedly share acceptance letters from universities like University of Toronto, York, and McMaster, enrolling in programs such as biology, chemistry, social work, real estate, and public health. Our SFA program is dedicated to recognizing the unique intersectional experiences of Black female youth. We have conducted research that highlights how these young individuals often face many challenges, such as assault, silencing, exclusion, and criminalization. In response to these findings, SFA developed programs aimed at fighting discrimination, empowering advocacy, and closing the gaps in resources and opportunities that many students may not even realize they're available to them. The SFA program has increased a sense of belonging from participants by creating a safe space that respects women's race, religion, appearance, culture, language, and everything that makes them who they are. Then came the cuts, with little notice and no accountability. Almost overnight, all of our organizations, all 22, had to eliminate nearly 80% of staff. Black youth and parents have been left without support just as the school year is winding down. To avoid abandoning the people we serve, Women's Health and Women's Hands absorbed $15,000 in salary and benefit costs between April and June from our own pockets, just to ensure that there's a responsible wind down. This is not acceptable. We have operated on small budgets since 2021, stretching every dollar, but we cannot sustain this work on goodwill alone. We are calling on the minister to act. We need consistent, incremental funding increases to expand our capacity. We need multi-year sustainable funding with a cost of living adjustments that reflect the real and critical work our communities depend on. Our Black youth deserve better, and we will continue to fight until they get it. Thank you.
That was great.
Good morning. My name is Audrey Spence. I am the treasurer at the DFCC, Durham Family and Cultural Center. Durham Family and Cultural Center is in Ajax, and we support Black and racialized children and families right across the Durham region. We have been supporting families and children across the region since 2017, and have been supported by provincial funding since that time. In the last 3 years, we also have received funding from the provincial government to run a community of practice, which brings the 22 organizations together. And we're here today to really talk about how the lack of funding since April 1st has impacted the organization, and to ask the government to talk to us about when and how the funding will be returned. We did receive a letter, and I must acknowledge that we did receive emails saying that the funding will be available and that by the middle of June, we would be hearing more about that. However, since April 1st, our agencies have had to, as Lori has noted, our agencies have had to lay off staff. Durham DFCC has had to lay off 85-90% of our staff because we had no funding to really support them going forward. So DFCC is asking the government, I know that the government has said that they're trying to, they are moving away from, they're moving more into employment, and also they're looking at bringing private sector into the mix. What we're saying to the government is that when you bring private sector into the mix, the private sector is looking for their shareholders. So we are asking that the minister and the ministry allow the public sector and the not-for-profit sector to continue to do the amazing job that we have always done. And Laurie spoke to some of that the numbers that we have seen across the spectrum in the last few years. We are happy to work with students for employment because we understand that in Ontario right now, over 25% of our Black youth is unemployed. And it's not that they don't want work. They have been looking for work, but they're still unemployed because of the economy that we are working in. So of the 22 organizations, each one works with the youth that comes through the door to help them with either pre-employment decisions or to provide some kind of employment work for them. So we are asking the minister to work with us to help these young people even more. Because as you know, we have the school to prison pipeline, and this is something that has been acknowledged for many years, and it continues to run rampant in the Black community with our Black young people. So we're asking the minister, please fund us, give us proper funding, and work with us to help these young people, especially as they seek employment. And but employment is not the only thing. As organizations, we help them with mentorship, we help them with sponsorship, and we help them especially with their mental health and wraparound services. So, Minister, we are asking that you acknowledge us and that you speak to us about that. We are also asking the minister to extend the contracts that we have to make them annualized contracts, evergreen contracts, so that we can have the consistency in the community that we have worked really hard to bring our community together and to provide these services. But every time we hear that there is some changes in services because there's no funding, the community steps back. So we want to say to you, Minister, the community is looking on and it's saying to you, can we annualize this funding like we do for other communities across Ontario? Let's annualize that funding so that we can have consistent funding for the organization. DFCC, on behalf of the 22 organizations, also want to say, Minister, we need for you to talk to us about the funding that is proposed for 26-27. This funding will start maybe July 1st. And I think the email did say it's fiscal funding, which ends on March 31st. We will by then be, one quarter would have passed in the fiscal year. So we will only have 9 months to deliver programming. That has already set us up for failure because we have to hire back our staff or we have to look for new staff because some people might have left. And so we will have only 9 months to deliver the services that you're asking us to deliver. So we are asking you, Minister, to talk to us about this. We'd like this funding, if it comes on July 1st, to hand on June 30th, so that we'll have a full year of delivery. And going forward, we're, as a group of Black organizations, again, Minister, we're asking you to ensure that the funding is consistent and that you speak to us. You have some communication with us as a group so that we can work together to make Ontario the best it can be for our Black people. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charlene Grant, and I'm the Executive Director of Parents of Black Children, one of the co-founders. Parents of Black Children Canada provides free, culturally responsive, essential service for Black families, which are services most government systems do not provide directly. Helping Black families address barriers in education, system navigation, and mental health, and other systemic institutions where anti-Black racism continues to impact outcomes. When the Black Youth Action Plan funding is delayed or unstable, Black families lose access to trusted support at the exact moment they need them the most. And the community cannot afford to lose organization that they trust or navigate these systems alone. Temporary and uncertain funding keeps organization in survival mode, making it difficult to retain staff, plan responsibly, expand services, or even respond to growing community needs. Sorry. When the Black Youth Action Plan funding is delayed or unstable, Black youth loses access to trusted support at the exact moment they need them most. And the community cannot afford to lose organization that they trust or navigate these systems alone. Temporary and uncertain funding keeps organization in survival mode, making it difficult to retain staff, plan responsibly, expand services, or respond to growing community needs with consistency. The cost of delivering services has increased significantly, but funding has kept pace and has not kept pace with inflation, leaving organization expecting to do more for more families with a lot less. POBC and other Black-led organizations are doing the work, making real impact on real lives, but our ability to grow and serve more families is being limited by funding uncertainty. Our funding is always in question. With stable and adequate funding, POBC could reach more families earlier, expand advocacy, and retain skilled staff, prevent families from being forced into crisis before receiving help. If the government is serious about supporting Black children, youth, and families, it must ensure funding is timely, stable, and aligned with the real cost of delivering community-based services. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to all our speakers so far. I think what is important for everyone to note is that these organizations are on the verge of crisis. They're doing everything they can to continue to sustain the level of service that is expected and needed from the community, and all they're asking for is a partnership from this province. And the province has previously shown that they have responded, but for whatever reason, things have now changed, and these organizations are desperately calling for the government to act responsibly and to meet with them and to ensure that their advocacy and their hard work is not lost. And most importantly, I want to echo their demands. The demands are that they're calling on the Ford government to release the outstanding funds immediately, as soon as possible, commit to sustainable funding. That means that you're not going to be asking them for gap funding and every year they have to reapply. That is capacity draining, but for evergreen, analyze funding. And of course, to include their voices in Black program development. I would add that the relationship has to be ongoing. It should be respectful in dialogue. These organizations do not have very large budgets. Everyone is stretching a dime into a dollar, and it is disrespectful on the part of the government to force them to come here to Queen's Park, for them to then respond to emergency that has now been manufactured by the government's own actions. There is one other thing, is that organizations have gone into debt to ensure that they can responsibly wind down a program that they had every indication from the government that was not going to be funded anymore. You need to offer them reimbursement for those funds. They did everything they could to be honorable. They tried to off-ramp, they tried to communicate, and it must be noted that this is not their first attempt to communicate with this government. This is several attempts by every single organization trying to understand what has happened, why did it happen, and why were they not involved in those decision makings. The official opposition under the leadership of Alexa Gilmore, as well as our education critic, Chandra Pasma, had written to the ministers specifically seeking clarification, asking for their intervention, asking for a dialogue, and there was not a satisfactory answer, which is why we're all here still today. I want to note that the organizations that are not here today, but it's important for me to name them, there are 22 of them, and I want to stress that these organizations are situated across Ontario, and they are in many ridings that are that they're delivering service in ridings that are held by Conservative government members. Britannia Woods Community House, Center for Resilience and Social Development, Delta Family Resource Center, Durham Family and Cultural Center, Early Childhood Development Initiative, Empowerment Squared, For Youth Initiative, HM Youth Foundation, Malvern Family Resource Center, Markham African Caribbean Canadian Association, the Medanta Community Services, Minnow Care or Mommy Monitor, My Neighborhood Services, Nigerian Canadians for Cultural Education and Economic Progress, Parents of Black Children Canada, Patches 360 Inc., Reading Partnerships, Regroupement, Ethnoculture des Parents Francophones de l'Ontario, Roots Community Services, Women's Health and Women's Hands, and Youth Now On Track Services. That's who these leaders are speaking for today. And I hope that the government really please work with these organizations. They are here specifically because they want to do the work with you. Thank you. We are open for questions from media that is online. Okay, thank you very much. Alexa, would you like to add your voice to this?
Thank you. Sure. I simply want to start by thanking the parents, the leaders that have come. You have traveled quite a distance to be here, and it's part of the remarkable leadership that you show to Black youth. And this is part of the ongoing cry from the Black community that has repeatedly been spoken out loud, been written about in reports like Dreams Delayed, and that this government has ignored over and over again. And so I want to add the voice of the Ontario NDP to yours, that this is a time to ensure that that our Black youth, who were supposed to be supported from adolescence into adulthood, they cannot be supported from adolescence into adulthood if every time they find a program, that program is interrupted. That program needs to be ongoing and sustainable so that our youth can trust that we in Ontario are there for them. So thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate all your work. Thank you so much for coming in.